Hi, and welcome to Home Tech Adventure, where we help you manage and use computers and related equipment in your home. Would you like to replace an NVMe M.2 drive with a larger NVMe M.2 drive, or do a similar upgrade? What we're going to do today is we're going to take my laptop and we're going to take out the drives that were installed originally from the factory. From the factory, it had a 250 gigabyte NVMe M.2 drive and a 1 terabyte hard disk drive. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the installed M.2 drive, which is actually this one. I already did this actually. And we're going to replace it with this 1 terabyte M.2 drive. Now, since I won't need any more space than this, that hard drive that's 1 terabyte that's installed in there is just taking up space and making the laptop heavier. So what I'm going to do is put it into this external enclosure, and since I've already done this, I already have it in the external enclosure here. So if you're interested, stay tuned and we'll show you how that's done. It's time to make an image of our NVMe SSD onto the hard drive that's included in the HP Omen laptop. Now, I was going to do this with the Rescue USB, and I actually did. If you take a look here, if I go in here and I go to the D drive, which is the hard drive, the 1 terabyte hard drive, you can see I've already made an image. It was a Rescue image with the Rescue USB, but it's very difficult to record the screen. I can't record the screen in Windows PE unless I do a virtual machine or something like that, and I want to do the actual laptop. So I am going to record the actual screen when we do the restore, because we're going to need to do that outside of Windows because it's a restore to a blank disk. But I want to show you exactly how to do the image, and to do that I installed Macrium Reflect, and we're going to do that right on the screen here. So let's do that right now. So if I open up Macrium Reflect, click yes. Now in Macrium Reflect, you can choose which disk you want to work with, and we're going to choose this disk, and I'm going to uncheck this one just for safety. But you see it says image disk underneath. If I select this one, I image the disk underneath there. I want to image this one. This is our boot disk. This is the C drive. You can see it's got the Windows C drive in there. So that's the one that I want to image. So all I have to do is just click image the disk. By the way, if you are on restore or log, you just have to click over here at the backup. These kind of hidden little tabs over there will get you to the right place. So let's make sure we got this selected. Underneath is image the disk. It means we can image this one with the C drive on it. So let's click image the disk. And this is all pretty simple. Now, the only difficult part, the folder that you want it to go in, and I just want it to go on to the D drive because I'm not really going to be using that D drive for anything but a backup. So let's click here, the ... and let's scroll this PC. And then if we go down, we should be able to get the D drive. There it is. We just select it, just click it once, and then just click OK. And that will select the D drive. Now you could just type that in too if you remember D:\\. But if not, yeah, just click the little thing, and you can set up a folder if you want for backup items with Macrium Reflect. So let me go in here, and everything else looks okay. We're just going to let it do the default name, and it recommends the default name, and honestly I'm not exactly sure why. I might play around with other names later on, but let's leave it at the default name, and we'll see if we can tell the difference from that other one that I imaged earlier, which is, I hope we can. All right, let's take a look. Let's just do next. And, you know, this is just backup plan. We got none for the backup plan because we just want it to back up once. So let's go next and click finish, and we should create a backup. Okay, run this, save the backup and schedules. No, we don't want to save the backup and schedule. Run the backup now. Just click this OK. We don't want it to save this backup scenario, at least not right now. So let's just click OK. And it's backing up. And I'm going to leave for a little bit, and then I'll come back when it's all finished, and we'll finish this thing up. Now that the image is complete, we just close this out, close that out, close Macrium Reflect, and let's double check that we got a new image on our D drive. So if I click the D drive, sure enough, we do have a D image, and there is a difference. And boy, I have no idea why they are a different size, because I haven't really added much, but they are different in size, and they should be different in time too. This looks like this is the newer one, this is the older one. So we're going to be using the newer one to put on our M.2 NVMe drive. So let's go over to the workbench, let's shut all this down, go over to the workbench, let's open up this laptop, install the M.2 drive, and remove that hard disk and put it in an external case, and then we'll restore that image to that new drive. Here at the workbench we got our HP Omen, and we're going to flip it over and remove the back cover. So let me just get that aligned so you can see it. There are several screws around, probably a number 1 Phillips. Now our goal here is to remove that. We're going to need a couple of these plastic pry tools. I don't know which one I'll use. I'll kind of decide later on which pry tool is going to work best. But we need plastic pry tools because we don't want to damage the unit. And we got our SSD. This is Inland Premium 1 terabyte SSD. That's the one that I bought to replace the 250 gigabyte SSD that's already installed in there. And remember, the hard drive is coming out. The hard drive is going to go into this Sarbent external case. It came in this box right here for only $10. So that's what we're going to use to house the hard drive after we remove it. So let's get this cover off and see how we go. Are these number 1 Phillips? Ooh, that looks a little tight for number 1. Let's try a number 0. Let me get a number 0. No, that's a little loose. It is a number 1. It's just a small size screw for number 1. There we go. And I do have my magnetic tray. So I'm going to put all of these in the magnetic tray so that I don't lose them. As I remember correctly from the last time I did this, these two are the long ones, and then the rest on the outside are shorter ones. And I'm correct, those are shorter ones. So we'll just skip ahead here. We'll speed things up and I'll be done in a minute. There we go. We got all the screws removed. Let's set that aside. Set the screwdriver aside. And let's start prying. I'm going to try this blue plastic one this time. And the key is to just find some place where you can get a little hold. And it looks like that. Can I get in there? Oh, it almost did. Okay, let's try again. Patience is a real key on this. Okay, so let me try to get in there. Oh, there's a spot. Come on, get in there. Nope, that one's not wanting to budge. So let's look again. Maybe this tool is not going to do it. Oh, there we go. Yep, it's coming up. There, that's it. Now, once you get a start like that, then you can pry around the rest of the edges. So let's keep prying around. Okay, we're good all the way to there. And I could switch to this larger tool now. That might actually be better. Just slide it along and just keep prying. And you want to keep it slow and deliberate because you don't want to break anything here. So we'll keep just sliding it along. That's good. I've seen people use their hands on this, and I really don't recommend using your hands to do it. I recommend using these pry tools. It's a lot safer. Okay, that pried open a whole bunch of it. Now this spot over here, this is a little tricky on this edge. So let's switch back to our smaller one. Now this is not as hard as it was the first time I did this. The first time I did this, it really took some effort to get these things out. But again, patience is the key. You don't want to force it, you just want to pry it. There, now it's totally free. Do you see how it just comes out nice and loose? All right, and I did that without using my hands to try to pry up harshly. So let me take that off and set that aside. Okay, now, last time you saw me just do this, I had my hands on there like that on the mat. I'm actually going to use the wrist strap this time because it's winter time here and the static is worse than it was the last time. So let me get that wrist strap on and I'll be right back. All right, now I'm back and you can see I'm grounded with my wrist strap, and that's good because we're going to remove the battery this time. We're going to remove the hard drive and we're going to remove the NVMe SSD, which should be under one of these little covers, I think. Let me see where that thing is. Is it under this part? No, not under there. Oh, there's a Wi-Fi module. Oh, there's our NVMe right in front of me. Gosh, I didn't even see it. It's right here. That's the NVMe SSD. Okay, so let's remove. I think these are #1 Phillips 2 for removing this battery. I really commend Hewlett-Packard for making this battery actually very easy to remove. So let me just get these screws out. And again, keep these screws. I'm going to put them in the tray in a different spot from the other ones so I don't mistake them. In this particular battery pack, it just lifts up off the front edge, just like that. And then that just comes out like that. Just pull it out there. It's got little things it slides into at the back edge. So let me just set that aside carefully. Okay, now we can start removing our parts. Let's work on this hard disk first. Let me get that centered so you can see it. This hard disk has a SATA connector here, and we want to remove that SATA connector. Boy, that does not look easy to do. I wonder if we should remove the hard drive first and then remove the SATA connector. Let's see how this hard drive actually removes out of here. That's it. It just slides up. It just lifts right out of there. But we got to remove that SATA connector. I think I'm going to pry it with a pry tool. Let's just try prying that off a little bit. Yeah, that's going quite nicely. Get that in there. We'll use a second one here. So we'll pry it out there, get a little bit there, and then just pry it open. Come on, get out of there. Again, patience is the key here. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Get that little bit in there, and then we'll keep working our way down. Just pry off that little connector. Yep. There, we're making it. Let's try lifting this out now. Does it have any screws? I don't think it has any screws in there. I think it just lifts out. Yeah, we'll wiggle it out eventually. Come on. Oh, it slides forward and out. Okay, let's get this off. I'll just use my fingers. There. Try to get that off. It slides forward and up. Let's see if we can totally remove that. There we go. That's it. And that just slides forward and up and out. All right, so that's the SATA drive removed. Now, I suppose we could have removed the cable over there on that side, but anyway, I'm not actually going to replace the SATA drive. I'm actually going to leave it blank. That's going to reduce the weight. Now, I do have these little plastic side clips, and I'll have to watch a video if I ever want to put another hard drive in here, but the little plastic slide clips, and you can see that's a 1 terabyte drive there. Put it so you can see it up right there. It's a Western Digital 1 terabyte drive. But I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to set these two little rubbery things aside too that mount the drive in there, and it just slides in there, because if I want to later on enter that drive, I will do that. And I wonder if we should remove the SATA cable. We could. I think you can just pull this little thing here. I think I'm going to just leave it in there. I think it's not going to go very far, and it's unlikely to make too much noise, and less likely to cause damage if I just leave it where it is. Ooh, I moved that, didn't I? Good enough for that. Okay, so let's concentrate on the M.2 drive. Now, these M.2 drives are dead simple to take out and replace, and ooh, I think I'm going to need a number 0 Phillips on this one. No, again, that's loose. I think they just use all number 1s. Kudos to HP for like keeping consistent. That is a number 1 Phillips. So let me remove the number 1 Phillips here. Pull that out. I think this black piece is a cover. Maybe? No, that's the actual drive. Okay, so there is a drive, and it's HP. It says replace with HP spare, but we're going to actually replace it with that Inland Premium drive that I showed you. And you can see the heatsink thing here. That's actually a thermal pad to helpfully heat sink the drive. So I think the drive goes upside down from what we would normally do it. Let me get this other drive out of the package. Now I hope it fits. They generally do, but I've heard stories where it's a little bit too tight. There's the way it goes in on this one. Kind of interesting. The label's up on this one. The label is down on the other one. You can see on this one all the chips on the other side and the controller chip from Phison there, if you can see that. Maybe I should put that a little closer so you can see it. Come on, focus there, focus. Yeah, there you go. See, it's Phison controller, and that's what the drive looks like. All right, let's put this one in here. Just slides it in an angle, just lightly like that. There we go, and all we have to do is replace that screw that we had taken out. And it's a little bit snug in there. It's pushing down on that thermal pad is what it's doing, but it fits just fine. So we'll put that in. All right, that's it for the drive installation. So now all we have to do is reinstall the battery. And I'm being very careful with this battery not to jostle it or anything. But let's just put it back in the little clips that it came in. And I've got to make sure that little ribbon cable stays down there. And it goes right in these little slots. Okay, I got it in the little slots. Push it down smoothly. And then get the 4 screws that I had removed and put those back in. Boy, kudos to HP for making these all number 1 Phillips screws. They really did think about how to make this easy to do it yourself. Now that that's all done, we'll just put the cover back on. Let me slide it so you can, oh, I slid it the wrong way, didn't I? Okay, slide it so you can see the whole thing here. Okay, and then just slide the cover on very gently. Kind of make sure it's all aligned. And you just press down on each corner, working your way around, corners and edges. Just working your way around and make sure all the little clips are clipped on there. And that looks good. Now, if you want, you can test it at this point. Flip it over and test it before you put the screws on. I'm going to put the screws in because I'm pretty confident we got it running okay. So just put the screws in, just the reverse of what you did before. The long ones go in these 2 little slots here. And I'm going to speed this up so it goes a little faster. And boy, isn't that good. We got no screws left in our magnetic screw tray, so we must have done something correct. All right, we're going to go and reinstall the operating system. Oh, wait, I forgot. I got to put that drive in the case. So let's do that at the same time. So here is the case that we're going to use. And according to the instructions, this just slides this way. So let's, yep, like that. And we'll pull the top off. Never used this brand before for the thing. It's a Sarbent. By the way, I used a Inland Premium bought at Micro Center because I think this is a real good quality drive for the price that you actually pay for it. Now, if you want this and you don't live near a Micro Center, I believe the Sarbent Rocket is actually the same drive as this one, just a little bit more expensive. Micro Center does give great discounts. But anyway, I bought all of these things at Micro Center. Not paid for it, by the way. I bought them with my own money. So we remove that, and we just slide in the drive like this. Now, this foam pad, I think we got to remove that because I don't think we'll get the drive in there with the foam pad. So you're supposed to just slide it in and push down, and it's got this little pad in the back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to slide it in like this, then push back on the pad and see if we can get it in there. Doesn't seem to want to go in with that little pad there, does it? Okay, so can we do it this way? Slide it in like this, and then, yeah, that works much better. Okay, so that's in there nice and securely. Now, I think if you used an SSD, you might need that pad, but I think with the hard drive, I think it's going to be pretty snug in there. Do you need the pad? Let's see, does the pad actually fit? Well, it does. It's kind of snug. Would it be better without the pad? I don't know. Let me just push this down. That looks fine. With the pad in there, it's really solid. Not going anywhere. Another reason I bought this particular one is it's got a nice switch on it, on and off, which most of these smaller drive cases don't have. So that's it. We just connect it with a USB that came with it, and we'll connect that up, and then we'll transfer the image that we have on here. We put that on earlier. We'll transfer that to that new M.2 SSD, the NVMe SSD that we just installed in there, and we'll have just one drive, but then an external backup drive for our laptop computer. Yeah, you can see my watch there, my glow-in-the-dark watch. Let's see if I push the power button, what happens here. I'm recording the screen as is because there's no other way to do this. I can't do a screen capture. So I got the camera pointed at the screen and we're recording the screen. Sorry if it's not perfect quality because of that. You can see here that you get a kind of confusing screen if you do this and just start it without anything in it. You get F2 diagnostics. By the way, you can just press the power button in this state and it just shuts right off. Now let's do something else. Let me show you what happens. I have nothing connected now. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to repeatedly press the escape key. You don't have to do it very quickly, but I'm going to press that and repeatedly press the escape key. I have an external keyboard attached here. And you can see it says pause startup, and it gives us this hint menu, which is really good because now we know that F9 is the boot device, and if I hit F9 right now, I'll go to the boot device. So let's do that. And after the camera readjusts, you can see it's boot from EFI file because there's nothing attached. So now let's connect up our Macrium Reflect Rescue USB that we created and our hard drive that's in an external case so that we can copy that image from the hard drive onto the new SSD, the M.2 SSD that we put in to the computer. So let me shut this off and connect things, and then we'll start up again. Okay, here we are again. I charged up my watch so that it's really bright. Let me press the power button on the computer and hit the F9 key repeatedly and see what happens. So I'm hitting the F9 key, boot device order. Okay, so now we got UEFI, PMAP, and that's what we want. We don't want to boot from file. We're going to boot from UEFI PMAP, and that should get us into that rescue USB that we created. Now, it's a Windows PE, so it'll look like the normal Windows startup, but it will go into the Windows pre-installation environment, or Windows PE, with Macrium Reflect in here. It says right there, Macrium Reflect 7. We'll just wait till it starts up. All right, we don't need that. I'm just going to click No. Sorry for the sketchy quality here. Again, I'm recording the screen. This is as good as I can get it. Sorry, folks. Now, we're on Restore. We can also choose Backup, but we want Restore. And let's see, we want redeploy restored image to new hardware. Oh, not available in this part, this version. I got the free version. Okay, so fix window boot from an image or backup file to browse for an image to restore. That's what we want. Okay, so our image is on this disk here, data drive. Now it's labeled as a C drive, but it's just a data drive. So we'll click that and we'll browse. We should have that image. So let's double click here. It didn't allow me to hit OK there. So I got to choose one of these two images, and these are the ones that we created before. And we want the newer one. So the newer one is 2:49 p.m. This one was 2:15 p.m. So that's really nice that they got the time code on there. So we're going to click the newer one. Ooh, date created, date modified. Do I got the right one? Yeah, 2:46. That was the later one. So let's click that one and click OK. All right. And so we got the image. And then we're going to put it onto the drive that's already in there, I think. Let me see. I'm trying to look at this. Actually, I'm having trouble reading the screen too because it's so small. Here, I'm going to blow up my screen there. Okay, so let's see. We got GPT disk, all right, and where are we going? Boy, I'm trying to figure this out. Browse for image file, we got that. Okay, restore image, let's click that. Okay, destination, let's select a disk to restore. Okay, that's what we want. We want the, we want this one. Yeah, it's a Sarbent. You see, that's the one that we, no, that's the external drive. We want this one, the internal drive, the one that's not even formatted yet. So click Next. Okay, and then click Finish, and it should restore it to our drive. So let's do that. Sorry, folks, for the little bit of confusion there. I'm reading this from the OBS screen, and it's as bad as it looks. I know you're having a little trouble reading this too. I'm having a little trouble reading this. Sorry for the quality. Honestly, this is as good as I could get the quality. So I apologize for that I couldn't get this any better than this. It's just about what I could do. We'll come back when this is all finished. Okay, we are all complete, and all I have to do is just click OK, and we can close this out. And we should have a completely set up system now. Let's shut this down, and then when I restart, I'm going to do the screen capture so you can actually see the real thing. I'm going to disconnect all the drives that I got connected after the shutdown, and then we're going to start it up in Windows with the new drive installed. Let's click this to shut it down. We'll just click shut down because now I got to reset everything. So shut down, and that should turn it off. I'll be right back. Now that we've cloned the drive, let's see if it works. I'm going to press the start button, and we'll see if the laptop actually starts up with Windows. It should, because it's this exact same image that we had on our old drive. Now, it's not all super good yet because the size of the drive that we started from was smaller than the size of the drive we cloned to. Now, there are ways within Macrium Reflect to do that size change. Just a second, let me log in here. Okay, now that I'm logged in, you can see that everything is okay. But the size of the drive is different, so something changed. Let's go to Disk Management. And you can see we got our C drive, but we got a whole bunch, 715 gigabytes of unallocated space. We'd love to use that for our C drive. Now I could create a new simple volume and have a D drive that's just for extra space that's actually on that same SSD. But just to keep things simple, I'd really like to have my C drive being full size. So can I do that? No, I can't extend the volume. You can't do it with unallocated space that's not right next to this thing that the partition that you want to extend. And there's no way to move partitions with this particular disk management software or even disk parted. So we need another tool, and we're going to use Minitool. So let me get Firefox up, and the Minitool, there's a link in the description, but let me get that Minitool up and I'll show you how that works. So here we have Minitool Partition Wizard Free 11, and we're going to download that. And it shouldn't take any time to download. I do have a fast internet connection. There, that's all downloaded. So let's close that out. Close tabs. Good enough. Okay, let's check that. Documents, downloads. There we go. Okay, there's our free version. Let's install it. Now, there is a thing about this, and a lot of free software on the Windows platform has this issue. I don't want the backup and restore. I'm using Macrium Reflect for that. I'm going to use just the partition management thing, and I don't want to participate in the customer program. Okay, so I got to uncheck both those. Click next, and okay, it wants to install this. I don't want it to install this, and I don't know how to uninstall. I'm going to click I don't want the user agreement, but it doesn't let me choose to not uninstall or not install. It just says I have read, and if it doesn't, well, let's see if it installs. I can't click cancel because then it would cancel the installation of the other program. Okay, so it's downloading Minitool Partition Wizard and it's installing that. Let's see if it installs that other useless program. Did it? Okay, so goody, I installed that. Now, did it install any other programs? That's important to know. You got to be really careful with this on Windows. A lot of the programs do that. Sometimes on the Mac too. You got to be really careful with it. Let's type in PRO, and add or remove programs is what we want. So let's click that and see if it did install. Instead of sorting by name, we're going to sort by install date. And it did only install Minitool Partition Wizard free. Now I did this another time with a different computer, and it actually did install the other thing even though I didn't want to. So you always want to double check that it only installed the one that you were looking for. But anyway, let's go Minitool Partition Wizard free, click yes. And boy, this is taking a long time to start up. Okay, so disk and partition management is what we want. That's the one right there. And so, yeah, get rid of that. Okay, so the C drive is what we want to work with, and so I'm just going to right-click on it and choose Extend. So Minitool Partition Wizard will allow us to extend the partition. So if I click Extend, take free space from the unallocated partition. That's what we want, the unallocated space on the drive. And you can see it's at 357.7 gigabytes. They got a little slider here. I'm just going to slide it all the way to the end because I want to use all the available free space on the drive for my C drive. So I click OK, and then you have to go up here and click Apply. It's kind of a little counterintuitive, but you click this Apply button, and then we click Yes because that's the only program we have open, and we click Yes, and it goes to work, and it does, and it did it successfully. That's simple. Now let's close that. Now let's restart the computer and double check that everything is correct. I've restarted the computer now. Let's double check that it did it correctly. Let's go back into disk management. So I had disk MA and it got enough to find the create and format disk partitions. And if I take a look now, my C drive is the correct size, so I'm happy. Everything's set. My drive is now installed. It's a larger NVMe SSD M.2 form factor, and it can now be backed up on the hard disk that we removed from the thing, and it's a removable hard disk, so that's a little bit better on backup, at least for a primary backup. You should have more than one backup, but that's a good primary backup for this particular drive. And when I do an image from this drive the way it is now, it'll image it with the partitions at the correct size for this drive. I hope you had fun on this home tech adventure, and I hope you have fun on your own home tech adventure, and please watch one of the other videos that I have listed here.